The following program is the work of the broadcast students at the British Columbia Institute of Technology. BCIT Magazine features news stories from around the Lower Mainland which were produced over the last week. Responsibility for the content of the show rests completely with the students and their instructors.
Today on BCIT Magazine, Translink bus drivers have had enough when it comes to abuse. Now a campaign aims to fight back. This year's Globe Energy Conference got heated when advocates took on Enbridge's CEO. And we take a look at the highlights of the 2014 Juno Awards. Hello and welcome to BCIT Magazine. I'm Nicole Hodges. The price of stamps has gone up nearly 25 cents, and while that may seem irrelevant to some, our reporter Zara Premji finds out who is being affected the most.
At Edwards & Company law firm, Diane Sawatsky spends a lot of time sending mail.
No matter what, in a law firm, you have to send out things by mail. You don't have a choice. Yes.
1 month ago, it would have cost her 63 cents for a stamp. Now, it's 85 cents.
Because it's only going up 12 cents. But 12 cents when you're thinking about that you go through already about $150 a month is going to make it probably close to $200. And when you think of that over a year, that's quite an increase.
With a 37% increase in stamp prices, some Vancouverites say they're annoyed, while others don't care.
I think it's ridiculous. You can buy 4 cups of coffee at Burger King for the cost of 1 stamp.
I find I don't use stamps very much. There's the odd bill or Canada Revenue Agency mail that goes out that I need a stamp for, but really most of the mail is email now.
Canada Post says their prices are now on par with the global standard.
This is a one-time adjustment of this magnitude. We believe that the new rate reflects much better our costs of sending a letter for only 85 cents from Ottawa to Vancouver and Vancouver to Ottawa. And we feel there's a lot of value in that.
But sending mail is still expensive when there's no other option.
You don't have a choice. You have to use the mail. They're sort of holding you over a barrel, Revenue, Canada Revenue. None of those will take it if it's not an original signature. So no matter what, if you have to send out a document to be signed, you have to have a self-addressed stamped envelope for them to send it back. So you're doubling your postage.
Sawatsky says a price increase in sending her business mail will mean an increase in cost for clients too. Zara Premji in New Westminster for BCIT Magazine.
British Columbians will find out that stamps aren't the only thing increasing in price starting this month. We go to our reporter Zara Premji for what else has made that list. Zara?
Well, Nicole, on top of the 37% price increase in stamps, British Columbian households should be mindful of an $8 increase per month on their electricity bill. Now, seniors who used to get onto the ferries for free will be paying a half-price passenger fee. If you have a medical marijuana license, you'll now be paying $8 per gram instead of $5. And now the last big change so far is a 23.3% decrease in funding for co-op housing. Back to you.
Zara, which of these 5 changes will affect British Columbians the most?
Well, it's clear for some small businesses, their costs are going to go up substantially due to the stamp price increase. But the major bone of contention right now is seniors having to pay for their ferry ride. They say their pension has not increased, so why should they be paying for more? The Council of Senior Organizations of BC says the seniors are worried that they're going to actually have to be paying for a lot more, but for now, it's just the ferry price. Back to you.
That was our reporter, Zara Premji. Enbridge is once again stirring up debate, this time at the 2014 Globe Conference in downtown Vancouver. Words were thrown back and forth between the oil CEO and clean energy advocates. Our reporter Angelina Tileman was there and has more.
This is the single most consistent fairy tale that is being spread around. We cannot
That was one reaction to what Enbridge CEO Al Monaco had to say at this year's Globe Conference on Energy and the Environment. And the panel debate heated up when Monaco claimed he could not foresee a carbon-neutral energy future in the short term.
If you think building pipelines are tough, that comes with a lot of difficulty as well.
Monaco is referring to technologies like solar or wind power, but the CEO of environmental NGO Rocky Mountain Institute was quick to dispel Monaco's claims.
We have all the technologies, it is being done, it can easily be handled. Yes, it requires some smart technologies, but there is no issue.
And although the panel debate appeared to end on friendly terms, some politicians in attendance were thoroughly unimpressed with the big oil CEO.
May have had some time for the idea that Enbridge had some aspects of corporate responsibility, but unless they fire that CEO, because he is, at this point in my mind, a climate criminal.
But Monaco maintained he didn't think clean technology could meet the energy needs of the near future.
Improvements in standard of living that the globe desires, you're going to need a lot of energy.
Angelina Talaman in Vancouver for BCIT Magazine.
It's hands off or get off. That's the message Translink police are sending with their new campaign that aims to keep bus drivers safe. Our reporter Zara Premji has the story.
The system has done nothing for us, nothing. They need to be charged, they need to go to jail.
At one point or another in their career, bus drivers say they've experienced unacceptable treatment while doing their job and are frustrated.
You can't think of one of your sisters being dragged through a bus by her hair and not have an emotional response to that. Nobody should have to go through what that woman went through. Us female drivers are really scared. Is it going to take one of us to be raped? Is it going to take one of us to be murdered before the company does something to protect us?
Drivers share some alarming stories.
He got to within about a foot of me and said that he was going to cut me up into tiny little pieces and no one would ever find my body.
This happened during the scuffle, and I just turned my head forwards, and next thing you know, I was being hit in the head.
Assaults like the ones shown in these videos are what drivers have had to endure and fear.
Don't touch the operator.
Translink is responding to the numerous assaults by launching this campaign, which is aimed at providing tools to keep bus drivers safe.
There is no justification for threatening or attacking a bus operator. Transit police take any violence or harassment against bus operators very seriously and are committed to exhausting all investigative avenues in order to identify and prosecute those responsible for violent behavior on buses.
But in the end, bus drivers say the campaign isn't enough.
But in all reality, we're the captain of the ship, and people expect to be safe, and they expect us to deal with the safety issues. And that's wrong. It's wrong. And we can't do it anymore. We can't work at risk every day.
Bus drivers say they're often scared to go to work and are asking for self-defense classes to stay safe. Zara Premji in New Westminster for BCIT Magazine.
Coming up next on BCIT Magazine, a local restaurant lets you lock up your phone for an entire meal. And a UBC lab raises funds to dive into the subconscious mind using a Ouija board.
A defining moment for me was when I finished my first internship and got lots of really great feedback from industry professionals.
I would have never imagined I'd be walking into the floors of TSN and thinking, I'm not a student anymore, I'm here to work.
I will be starting a job with an investigative news program in Toronto, and I'm really excited to see that grow into what will become, hopefully, my dream job.
BCIT Broadcast and Online Journalism, putting you to work.
People are finding it harder to disconnect, even during dinner. As our reporter Canberra found out, one Vancouver restaurant may have the solution.
In a time driven by social media, a real conversation for a whole meal can be hard to come by. That's why the Score on Davy is giving you the chance to lock away your phone with not just a pin, but a real lock and key. The idea for the lock boxes came from one of the restaurant servers.
And he kind of got sick of people always on their phones, when he'd come up and take an order from them. they'd be on their phone. They're like, yeah, I'll have a beer. What kind of beer do you have? And they don't look at the servers anymore or at the bartenders. They're just always on their phone. He gave us the idea. He said, why don't we start locking people's phones up?
It isn't mandatory to lock away your phones in these lock boxes, but Richie says it has definitely brought people in.
We have guys that come in now, guys and girls that's part of their normal routine of coming to score is that they lock their phones up because it actually makes them engage in the person right in front of them instead of whoever is on their Twitter or Facebook or something. If you don't want to do it, it's not there. We don't judge you if you want to be on your phone. We're just saying if you want to do the right thing, put your phone in the box.
Not everyone is taking part in the concept, but most customers and all the servers agree it's a good idea.
It's brought a lot of people in, but I haven't seen too many people do it yet. They're quite scared, which I think people should do it more because it's, should be on your phone, right?
In a group of people, a lot of people are just sitting on their phone. It's true. And this way everyone forces everyone to visit like we used to.
I just really enjoy talking to people as opposed to having them come through on the phone. But I think it's a really good idea.
Not all hope is lost if you can't resist the urge to check that most recent notification on your phone. You can get your phones back early, but it will cost you likely a round of drinks for your entire table, and for some, a worthwhile investment. Canberra, in Vancouver, for BCIT Magazine. Now, can I get my phone back, please?
A UBC psychology lab is using crowdfunding to finance their research into the subconscious. Our reporter Olsi Sorakana visited the lab and brings you this story.
This Ouija board experiment will be funded completely by online contributions. The research team from the UBC Visual Cognition Lab is the first one in the Lower Mainland to attempt to fund scientific studies through a crowdfunding platform.
We are basically the ones who will make all the mistakes. So we'll be the people finding out where all the booby traps are.
The first round of the campaign in November did not quite meet the $6,000 fundraising goal. Researcher Docky Duncan says the new campaign will have a more modest goal and use a reward system to encourage people to contribute.
Something that you can kind of have and carry around and always remind you that this is something that you supported. And something that you can kind of show your friends and be like, this is something cool that I got because I supported this cool research that's going on.
The UBC research team decided to use crowdfunding to collect money for their newest experiment because of its unusual nature. While the study involves a Ouija board and all the procedures involved with it, like being blindfolded, it explores a well-known scientific phenomenon.
We use a lot of unconscious movements in our everyday life. It's just something that's kind of a part of how we live as human beings. And Ouijas are kind of an interesting example where you could really get people answering unconsciously.
But as Duncan explains, the intriguing topic is also responsible for the interest from the community.
This is a project that's always gotten a lot of attention. We've kind of been trying forever to kind of accommodate everyone who's interested in the project and give them opportunities to help out and get involved and all that. But we realized that there's just too much interest in the project, really. We need to kind of formalize some sort of support system. And that's where crowdfunding really came in.
The new fundraising campaign is expected to launch second week of April. Olsi Sorakana in Vancouver for BCIT Magazine.
Martial arts is often linked with fighting, self-defense, and competition. However, one man has found peace through a traditional holistic Russian martial art, and our reporter Maria Rozo has the story.
For me, the training has shown me so many things about myself, and it's helped me improve on so many different levels, and I just want to share it with other people. The approach is not first to teach the person new skills. It's first for them to heal things that have happened to them or things that preclude them from moving freely.
Sistema, the Russian martial art, has helped Christian Izbushescu heal from years of working in infantry services.
The training in the military is very focused on speed and aggression and timings. Inherently, there's a level of tension that a person takes in. Breathing is so important in relaxation because we approach it like that's the building block. Where in other disciplines, they teach technique first, and then at a much later date, sometimes they don't even touch on it.
I had practiced martial arts since I was a kid, since I was a child.
And it just sort of seemed like the natural progression of where I was headed to next. It was kind of the most honest martial art I'd ever come across.
In Sistema, positive emotions towards others lie at its core.
When you have compassion or good feelings towards the people that you're training with, even though they're fighting, they're teaching each other, they're helping each other, they're preparing each other, right? And if it's a real world situation, you learn how to enter that situation without the desire to break the other person. You just understand that, like, they're working through something and maybe it's not a good thing, and you want to stop them before it gets bad.
Ishbusesco hopes Sistema will help others heal from their own emotions. Maria Rozo in Vancouver for BCIT Magazine.
The odds of the Vancouver Canucks making the playoffs are down to just 0.01%. But the real embarrassment came this week after losing to their former coach's team, the New York Rangers. This has many fans wishing that Alain Vigneault was still in power. We now go to Canberra with your BCIT Sports.
Thanks, Nicole. When the going gets tough, people like to go back to what they're used to. And for head coach John Tortorella, when the players got injured and the on-ice performance started to suffer, he went from a hard forechecking game back to that defensive shot-blocking style he's known for. Unfortunately for Torts, this is a case of a square peg in a round hole, as these Canucks transition players can't play that defensive trap style. This led to that terrible back half of the season and has the Canucks on the outside of the playoff race. Now for Canucks fans, when this happened, they wanted Torts' head. They all wanted to go back to the good old days of Alain Vigneault. But let's go back a year to when the Canucks barely made the playoffs and were swept in 4 games by the San Jose Sharks. At that point, Canucks fans wanted Alain Vigneault's head. They said he wasn't the right coach for this team, he had lost the room, and he had to go. That just goes to show you how bad this season has been for Torts. He was lauded at the start of the season as the savior for this group. He would come in and bring passion and fire for this team. This season has shown anything but that. John Tortorella is not the right coach for this group moving forward. However, neither is Alain Vigneault. Expect a third coach in as many seasons next year, a necessary change to go along with many more to come.
Coming up next on BCIT Magazine, fancy ball gowns inspired by cancer cell slides, and 2 men, 1 bus, and a love tuner. We'll find out what the noise is all about.
The most rewarding thing for me has been the relationships I developed in the program, both with instructors and classmates.
My sense of confidence has never been higher. I mean, this program's offered great opportunities to be in real world, real industry situations, and being in those moments and knowing I can contribute, I can do this.
It's exciting to be in this industry and to meet lots of great people and to make amazing friends.
BCIT Broadcast and Online Journalism, realizing your potential.
Hi, I'm Tina Lovegreen with your BCIT Community Calendar. We've got some really exciting events around BCIT's campuses this month. First on the list, shoot some ball at the Hoop Stream Basketball Campus Challenge. Starting April 7th to the 11th, it's your chance to win some great prizes and roll the court. And it's time for the year-end party at Professor Muggs. On April 25th, come down with classmates and celebrate the end of the school year. Well, if you're anything like me, always down to eat, May 1st is your chance to join in on the Great Northern Wing It Eating Contest. For more information, go to outreach at bcitsa.ca. That was our producer, Tina Lovegreen, with events around campus. Our next story, a UBC instructor fashions gowns inspired by cancer. And as our reporter Olsi Sorokina found out, these dresses spark a meaningful discussion about the illness.
Looking at these colorful dresses, it is impossible to tell that they are inspired by something as tragic as cancer. UBC costume designer Jacqueline Firkin modeled these gowns after microscope slides of dyed cancer cells from a UBC lab.
It represents the healthy cells, and the red side represents the unhealthy cells.
The project aims to start a discussion around body image for women who have gone through cancer.
The treatment starts to wither the body even more than the disease. You feel like you are losing your body. You are getting tired, you are losing your energy, you are physically losing your body. So one of the approaches to these sort of grand shapes is this idea that here is the strength, here is the robust body, here is the we are at our fullest, and then something starts to impede upon that.
To reflect these ideas, Firkin experimented with fabrics, textures, and necklines to either hide or show off certain features.
In an ideal world, we show everything about ourselves and we feel like it's all beautiful. But there is a reality to society, and there's a sense of, I want to be able to cover my scars and walk into a room or a party, as these dresses sort of represent, and have nothing to do with cancer.
And although students who modeled the dresses have never had cancer, they still consider the trauma of the disease.
Doing the photo shoot, you sort of ended up in a really weird battle between, this idea that you feel gorgeous, a model, you feel fashionable, and then you also have this idea of, oh my God, people have died from this and it's invading me currently.
UBC researchers say the project is an innovative way to draw interest to the science behind cancer.
So on one hand, it's based on hard science data, but it's also, I think, it's just to open up the dialogue. I think the main thing, as all I can see, is that people now are more aware of, people in general already know cancer, but now they can talk about it. And then they can say, oh, have you seen those dresses that are based on cancer cells?
These gowns won't be sitting on the racks for long. Firkin wants to take the dresses to health educational events before auctioning them off to raise funds for cancer research. Olsi Shirakina in Vancouver for BCIT Magazine.
It's called the Love Tuner, and its founders say it creates the frequency of love. The tuner, which travels by bus, stopped by BCIT, where our reporter, Angelina Tileman, was able to test out the tiny device for herself.
We are dealing here with a consciousness what cannot be reached with words anymore.
It's called the Love Tuner. It's said to sound the frequency of love. And the man behind the tuner wants to share its benefits.
You're trying to bring in mindfulness towards the diverse communities around North America.
The tuner has already traveled to Europe, South America, and Southeast Asia. But now these two longtime friends are trying to bring their Zen further on a freshly painted biodiesel-fueled bus. First this BCIT Burnaby campus, next California.
I don't know where the journey is going to take me. I just know that I'm grateful for it, that I'm enjoying every minute of it, that I'm enjoying the connections that I have with people. And ultimately I see myself coming back to Canada and doing a tour across Canada to bring this tuna into different communities from the West Coast to the East Coast and back.
In a past life, both Roner and Krauss served up things like food or drink. But now, it's these little silver whistles. Well, tuners.
By serving now a frequency, if someone told me this many years ago, I would say, this is crazy, I don't go around and serve a frequency. But now when I look back my life, everything was somehow a preparation to do so.
So if you're feeling stressed and you see a big gold bus in your neighborhood, this one to be exact, don't be shy. Get on board, tune in, and you'll find some good vibrations. Angelina Tileman in Burnaby for BCIT Magazine.
Winnipeg was the place to be this past weekend. The city played host to the 2014 Juno Awards that celebrates Canadian music, and it turned out to be a big night for Calgary's Tegan and Sara. Fans waited in line for nearly 2 hours to get an autograph from the indie rock duo, but it was Sunday night that brought their loyal fans the most satisfaction. Tegan and Sara, seen here rehearsing their hit song Closer, walked away with 3 awards, including Group of the Year. For many of the artists, winning a Juno reaffirms that they are on the right path.
I feel I have a path that I'm on. I know where I want to go and the kind of song I want to write, and there's 1,000 DJs out there that I can take any one of my songs to, and that's a great feeling.
Bachman-Turner Overdrive closed out the show with a performance after they were inducted into the Canadian Music Hall of Fame by astronaut Chris Hadfield. If you have any questions or comments regarding this program, please visit us online at bcit-broadcast.com or bcitbroadcastnews.ca. I'm Nicole Hodges, and that's today's BCIT Magazine. Thanks for watching. We leave you now with the sound of love.
Okay, so we take, there is no right, no wrong, there's not too much to it.